Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about zero product property. This is something that you did review last week with Khan Academy, and this is something that we were doing right before we left school. So when you are to use the zero product property, remember that if you are multiplying two numbers and you want them to be equal to 0, this is only going to happen if A is equal to 0 or B is equal to 0. So here we go. If we have multiplications, if we want this statement to be true, either A has to be 0 or B has to be 0. So here are our steps. What we want to do is we want to move all of the terms to one side of the equation, making the other side 0. Equal to 0. Next, what we want to do is we want to factor or rewrite the other side equation as multiplication. And then lastly, we want to apply the zero product property. I will solve 3 examples, and those 3 examples will show each one of those steps. So take a look at number 1. And for number 1, the steps say the first thing is to move everything on one side and then making the other side equal to 0. Well, this is done for us. Then the next step says to factor or rewrite the other side of the equation as multiplication. Well, this is done for us. This is one factor and this is the other factor. And then lastly, we are to apply the zero product property. So think about this as this is your A and this is your B and this is multiplication. You want to make 3n plus 2 equal to 0 or n minus 2 equal to 0. Let's solve this. Minus 2 from both sides. This is gone. I did this to both sides of the equal sign. And now I will divide both sides by 3. So n is equivalent to negative 2/3. Or I will add a 2 to both sides. N is equivalent to 2. Those are my 2 solutions. If you take those numbers and plug them back into our original equation, you are going to get a true statement. Let's take a look at the second example. The second example is special. Well, let's see. Let's follow our steps. First step is to move everything on one side and then keep the 0 on the other side. This is done for us. Then next we are asked to factor. So for us, we have to go back and think of all the methods of factoring that we learned. I have 2 terms. I have negative sign between them. What you should think of right now is the difference of squares. So I think about, okay, what squared is going to give me 16y squared? So that would be 4y. What squared will give me 9? So that will be 3. And remember, the difference of squares will work that way, that you have the same terms, but one parenthesis will have the negative sign and one will have positive sign. So this is equal to 0. Now we did the second step, and we have to now apply the zero product property. So I will take 4y minus 3 and make it equal to 0, or 4y plus 3 and I will make it equal to 0. move 3 on the other side. 4y is equal to 3, so y is equal to 3/4. Move 3 on the other side. So y is equal to negative 3/4. And now we are done with this one. Let's do one more, and then you will have some assignment for tomorrow. So for this example, the first step says to move everything on one side and keep 0 on the other side. So what I need to do is I need to move this guy on the other side. So this is positive, so I will subtract it, and I will not put it in a random spot. I see that this is squared, and then I see that this has the variable n, so I will put it right after that. Now I completed the first step where I have all the terms on one side and 0 on the other side. So now I need to think of this, how to factor this. Look at this one, I have 8, I have 12, and I have 4. I see that there is the greatest common factor, and the greatest common factor is 4. I want to make this example simple, so I am going to take that out. If I factor 4 out, I will have 2n squared minus 3n plus 1 is equal to 0. Notice I have 3 terms, so now everybody should recall the x method. I will be looking for 2 numbers that multiply to 2 and add up to negative 3. Think about this for a second. Don't forget to think about the easiest examples. So, well, they have to multiply to the positive number, so they either both have to be positive or both have to be negative. Because they have to add up to a negative number, I know that they both have to be negative. So negative 2, negative 1. They multiply to 2, they add up to negative 3. Those are the numbers that I am going to use to split the middle term. I will copy down the last term and the first term. I will copy the 4 and I will copy the 0. Let's group that. We have 4 terms. We know that when we have 4 terms, we want to group. I will take 2n out, n minus 1, and I will take negative sign out, so I will have n minus 1. Okay, almost minus 1. And notice this is in a factored form. I'm running out of space a little bit here, but I see that I have to make this equal to 0 and this equal to 0. So n minus 1 is equal to 0, or 2n minus 1 is equal to 0. So n is equal to 1, n is equal to 1 over 2. I skipped one step, but think about this for a second. It does work. Your assignment is going to be finished question 4, 5, 6, and then you have a second page with more examples to practice as our problem set. Have fun with that.